30 days before the invitation. Chapter 1. Professor. Oh, what a wise man. The time had come for my initiation ceremony. I would be enlightened, I would know the truth, and the truth would make me enlightened. Amidst the anxiety and fear, my heart was divided in two for a moment. I thought it had stopped. It was too much adrenaline for a mere human being. After all, I was about to meet the professor, the architect of the world. I was led to a room underground. They called it the initiation room. It was dark and eerily silent. They left me at the entrance saying, "Walk by yourself and you will find the light," a phrase that inspired beginners to delve into the depths of that darkness. I walked without knowing or seeing where I was going. From afar, I could hear the echo of my own heartbeat piercing through that darkness. Those were the most stressful and terrifying 10 minutes of my life. And after 15 minutes that already seemed like an eternity, I heard a soothing voice saying, "Calm your heart. Your fear comes from your imagination." Hearing those words made me calmer. They were so penetrating and true that I believed them even without seeing who was speaking. So I asked whom I was speaking to, and he replied, "I prefer you call me Professor, but you may know me by another name." Astonished, I replied, "How would I know you if I've never seen you before?" He retorted, "Everyone thinks they know me." "Tell me then, do you not know Lucifer, the fallen angel of God?" At that moment, I froze. I went into shock. I was with Lucifer himself, the demon. In my head, I already imagined why there was darkness, a filthy creature that couldn't even stay in the light. He's going to devour me alive. I should flee. I was in turmoil, and a terrifying silence took over the room again. I could hear my breathing, heavy and strained. Then he said, "Calm your imagination. Everyone thinks they know me just by what they see in the world. Do you really think that God's angel looks like that?" Trembling with fear, I responded, "I know nothing." And suddenly the lights in the room turned on. They were as bright as the midday sun with a blue sky. It was unbelievable, the creature in front of me, nothing like a demon. He was a man with white skin and elegant, with piercing eyes that seemed like cut diamonds on pure gold, with a physical stature equivalent to television models. It was hard to believe what I was seeing. I asked him if he was truly the person I was speaking to. He nodded at me, saying, "It's me. Come closer, don't be afraid. This is my real appearance." At that moment, I knew that everything I had been taught was wrong. After that small surprise about Lucifer's appearance, the time had come for true enlightenment. Enlightenment was an initiation ceremony in which all members of the Brotherhood were subjected on their first day to be elevated to the rank of brother. This ceremony consisted of purifying the mind from common and mistaken knowledge. All the doubts that guided me as a human being, all the doubts that defined my principles, in essence, it was my turn. Then the professor spoke with his voice that compared to an opera work of Pavarotti and Bocelli, with the sound of drums from African tribes carrying that black energy in the background for the purification to be effective. "You will ask all the questions that guide you, and I will reveal all the truth you need." I didn't hesitate and immediately asked, "Why were you expelled from heaven? Why did you deceive Adam and Eve and lead us to suffering? Why disobey God?" I asked so many questions that he exhaled and said, "Calm down, my child. I have all the time for you. Let's go question by question. But to answer these questions about the origin of sin, I will need to tell the true story of Genesis. In the beginning, there was God and his angels. Among the angels was the Father's favorite, and that was me. Do you know why? Because I was the only one capable of thinking differently and always bringing something interesting to the Father. One of those things was the creation of living beings like us, in this case, you humans. So God created them, Adam and Eve. However, it wasn't exactly as I had thought they would be because God limited their knowledge, knowing only well. I begged the Father to let them know good and evil exactly like us. He refused. But I insisted, and as he is just, he said, "Do as you wish with them. But if they disobey me, they will be deprived of grace and left to their own devices." And God had already told them not to eat from the tree that was in the middle of the garden. Wanting to see my idea realized exactly as I had thought, I gave the man and the woman knowledge of good and evil. It wasn't long before they began to seek out for themselves what was good and what was evil, ignoring even God's command. And as said, God expelled them from the garden, leaving them to their own devices. I begged the Father so much to let them stay because they were exactly what I thought, humans, strong and independent beings, capable of choosing between good and evil. The Father became angry and sent me to earth to rule over them, and today we are here to prove to the Father that man can guide his own destiny without exterminating himself. The more I listened, the less I believed that all of this was reality. For several moments I pinched myself to see if it was really happening. I was amazed at how distant those statements were from what I knew. And it was in this rhythm of conversation that we stayed for 7 days and 7 nights, clarifying questions of such magnitude, which shook my entire intellectual structure, all my principles. I was changed. I was ready to join the professor and the brotherhood. I couldn't stop asking myself how I got there, at the peak of the pyramid. It all started 31 days ago, and that's where we'll begin.